got my mic right here so you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me good. Okay, today there's some crazy talk about war that's coming from our military leaders. And I don't think they're joking. Okay. We're looking at war in 2025. I hope he's wrong. Like he said, that's his quote. I hope I'm wrong. And I haven't ever seen anything quite this close to World War III. It seems like it's really starting to pick up, if you know what I mean. So this is from Michael Minhan. Oh, go ahead.
Well, M&J just said we're scheduled for August the 7th, so for the live. So I guess somehow the live got scheduled wrong. So hopefully you guys will get on
That's
there.
weird.
Yeah, and see.
It wasn't like that when I scheduled it.
So hopefully
I
everybody
double
will see
checked it
it.
and triple checked it.
So this is interesting. So this is a general from the Air Force. Go ahead, Chris.
The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command's top intelligence officials, Minhan, express concerns about the rising tensions between the United States and China. The U.S. to address Chinese military advancements and aggressive behavior in the Indo-Pacific region. So he also mentions Chinese territorial claims in the South China Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we've done videos on the islands. Somebody put it in the comments. What are those islands called?
Well, they do those sand islands where they create sand barges. Isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah. They
China
is dredging the ocean, and they're building these harbors.
Yep.
They look like harbors that harbor, warships and all of their military stuff.
Yep.
And Taiwan right there close, and that's not your land. Yes, it is. Well, we're just we'll bring China out. They're ingenious, but it's really starting to pick up. Let's see. Military. He says the importance of U.S. military readiness, intelligence sharing with allies, and diplomat efforts to maintain stability and deter aggression in the region. So look, it's a bunch of gibberish, but fact is, he's thinking we're going to war in 2025. We were not supposed to have that information. That was leaked, and he stood his ground. He's like, yeah, that's what I said. I hope it didn't happen. I do too. Hoping of one hand and do you know what another.
Yeah, well, I'd like to read a little bit more on that.
Yeah,
so
sure.
he says, I hope I'm wrong. He informed them in a January memo that went out viral because one of the recipients, they leaked it, one of his staffers apparently. He said, but my gut tells me we will be in a fight come 2025. And what Chris was talking about was the China sand barges. If you guys go look at what they're doing right now, they're actually dredging sand out, and they're doing it all the way to, I think, almost to California. And they're creating these islands, and they're putting, if you get on there and you look, they're putting all these, and they claim it's just, for safety or whatever, but they're putting all these military, looks like bases on there.
Nobody can remember the islands?
There's not a name for them.
Yeah, there is. They call them something. Anyway.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I don't know, but he claims that he says, and this has come out, and he is not backing down, even though it was leaked. He's not backing down. He's standing by what he said, and he's like, nope. And they call him a huge teddy bear, but they say he's just a 6'5" general.
He seemed to be very down to earth. I looked him up a little bit, and he seemed to be really straightforward and like somebody you should just
pay attention to.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So, yeah, but so we'll see what that happens. But he said he warns of war with China, and he is sticking to his guns. So I pray he's wrong. He prays he's wrong, but we'll see what happens. Speaking of China, though, can I just talk about one article?
And in the next one, go to Biden and his emergency plans.
Yes. Oh, yeah. For the climate. All right. Before we go to that, just real quick, though. So based on China and all this, just a real quick note. This has been in the news, you guys, but pay attention. So we are giving Taiwan $345 million, and I hope you guys can hear us because our audio has been stinking lately. But we are giving Taiwan $345 million in arms. Okay. So we've come out and we've said, yes, we're for Taiwan. We're going to be, and then no, we're not for Taiwan on our websites and the government websites. But yet we're turning around just like we're doing Ukraine. Okay, they're not part of NATO, but we're giving them a ton of money. So here we go again, you guys. We're giving them 345 million in arms of all this stuff. And you guys have seen this in the news. This came out a couple days ago. But to me, this just screams of heading
China
toward
has
direction of war.
criticized previous packages like this, arms packages. They're not making anybody very happy by funding or worse than funding, giving them weapons.
Yep.
Just like we're giving Ukraine
Yep.
weapons.
Yep.
It's literally NATO against BRICS. That's what it's warming up to be.
Yep.
And I haven't heard anybody really say that. It seems like it's, they're creating their own currency. They're doing their own thing. They're doing war drills together, and we're divvying up cash, because we can print it out of thin air. Just money printer go burr and everybody gets some. So, give it to Taiwan. We've got to give it to Taiwan. Guys, they make all of the computer chips, like 90% of them in Taiwan. I mean, nuts.
Yep. But go to this next story. This is crazy. And this just actually came out. This literally just came out, I don't know, a couple hours ago about the climate.
Well, I just have my notes. Do you have the article?
Oh, yeah, I have the article.
The headline?
Yeah. Go ahead. You want to read your notes? Or you want me to read the headline?
I'll read my notes. What all it is about the climate emergency that could all of a sudden come up, would be a power that Biden, that's what I'm talking about. He could deploy this emergency declaration of emergency. What are they calling it? Climate emergency. Such a declaration could give the president broad powers to address climate change without congressional approval. Doesn't that sound? You think they want more power? I don't think Biden doesn't want anything but an ice cream cone, or something. Maybe I'm not going to go there, but anyway, you can look back in history, and this has happened a few times. Is there more to the story?
So basically, what it says is the U.S. Oil and Gas Association, even the president, I think, which is like Stewart or somebody that's part of that. They are worried. They're concerned. This whole climate thing has become such an issue that they said Joe Biden is going to be facing increasing, and this is quote, demands to declare a climate emergency, just like the one they did with the, woohoo bat flu and the COVID, whatever. And they're warning that, and this is from top advocates, you guys, in the U.S. oil and gas industry. And they said that he is going to use, they said, quote, this would give the president vast and unchecked authority to shut down everything from communications to infrastructure based on climate. You guys, I'll show you an article right now. I'm going to go off on I get all fired up on this kind of stuff. But right now, the electronic vehicles right now. So we've got this whole heat wave running through the United States and the world right now. So they're saying that you cannot do your batteries. You cannot charge your batteries, right? However, if you don't charge your batteries, they go dead. They ruin.
They don't. Yeah, you got to keep them up, especially when it's hot.
Yep.
Yeah, these cars are sitting in California and they're getting hot.
Texas.
The batteries are going dead. And the cold weather affects them too. I plan on doing a whole video about that. Well, how to treat your electric car batteries if you have one. I think they're kind of cool. Still like gas, but we're not ready. It's that simple. We don't have the right stuff. They're just pushing, they're stomping their feet like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum, saying climate change, climate change, climate change. And then it doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? The green energy is great, but we're not really ready yet, It's going to be a little bit. Hold up, Joe. Get some ice cream.
Well, when you've got the Oil and the Gas Association, when you got the presidents coming out and saying, hey, you guys, we need to pay attention to this, that this could be an issue that they possibly could declare a climate emergency. They're saying also that they would declare an emergency of water, electricity, freeze assets under this declaration. And the article's actually on the Twitter page if you guys want to check a look at this. But this is from from the president of the Oil and Gas Association that's come out and saying, he said, if you grant the president emergency powers to declare a climate emergency, it's just going to be like COVID. They're going to shut everything down, and it's going to be infrastructure, water, electricity, anything that they deem that.
And now you got WHO. The WHO's over our health. And they could declare some kind of emergency pandemic. There's so many black swans flying around. It's unbelievable. This has happened before, several times through history.
Well, just so you know, based on that, there's 62 congressional Democrats that are actually on board with this right now. So you guys just hang on, just pay attention to this, because this could be something. If they were to start this, it said it could be exercised in the event that the nation is threatened by a crisis or an emergency circumstances. And right now they are saying over and over, we're having an emergency with our electrical grid. We're having an emergency with our electrical grid. They're asking people not to use your electricity. Downplay it. Don't use electronic vehicles. Don't power them in as much. They're asking for people to go back on their appliances. So he could declare, that's what they're saying, is a climate crisis. So
Okay, so you
You
guys know where I
guys-
sit on this, and for all the
We'll
climate
see how this
Nazis,
comes with
I'm
that.
not a climate denier. The climate changes, usually around fall, spring,
It
summer.
does.
It changes then. It also was really hot about 1,200 years ago. That's the last time we had temperatures like this, or close. And that puts me in question to ask, well, what happened 1,200 years ago? It's kind of, what happened. But no matter where you sit on climate change, they don't care. Okay, the climate's changing, whatever you think.
It's all about
But
control.
The powers that should not be are going to use that to control and manipulate everything.
Yep.
Everything. My flip flop busted, and it's climate change. My dog's got legs that are 3 inches long because of why? Climate change. Everything is climate change. It's just ridiculous. It's like just making stuff up as you go. Oh, it's because of climate change. We got to do something about it. That's why 62 Democrats are on the bill. They're serving the ESG God, the small g ESG God, that they, worshipful master, the green weenie God. It is true that they really they desire to serve this. They desire to get this done. And it makes no sense. It's crazy. They've done this before. They did it in 1973. Richard Nixon declared an emergency during the Arab oil embargo, which allowed him to implement measures like reducing highway speed limits, implementing nationwide daylight savings time to conserve energy. This happened again in 2008 when Bush, he declared a national emergency, authorizing troubled asset relief program. Remember this?
Mhm.
This is why we're having all this crazy hyperinflation or inflation, money printing problems, because after that debacle is when they opened Pandora's box. And now they can print as much money as they want. But it was all for our own safety and our own good. TARP, to stabilize the economy.
I remember that.
This program gave the government the power to purchase troubled assets from financial institutions, injecting capital into the market. This is what we are suffering from right now. We don't have market corrections anymore. We just have perpetual stocks go up. The stonk market makes no sense. It's completely divorced from reality. I've been looking at it all day on the charts. It's stupid. Foot Locker is still in business. And they might go up, by the way. It's crazy. It's like they should have been gone a long time ago.
Yep.
Anyway, a few other things. It happened to Roosevelt. What came of that was a series. The Great Depression.
Work programs and all that kind of stuff.
National emergency created a new deal, series of programs for public works projects, and all this massive government
spending
push in a certain direction. Now, when Biden and his commies start pushing in a certain direction, what do you think it's going to be? What do you think that's going to be? It's going to be in the green industries, just like we're seeing now with the carbon credits and the carbon footprint and all that stuff. They're pushing everything over there. Hey, you got to be green. If you're not over here, you hate the planet. It's very, you're a bad person if you don't want to do this. So it happens over. You may keep going because I got a bunch of them.
Keep going. We got a new one that just came out, but keep going.
Go ahead. I'll give you some more.
Oh, no, we got a new one that just came out. The Biden administration just came out, and they're going to launch $8.5 billion in rebates for home energy efficiency, because you know how they're trying to go against all these gas, wood burning, all these appliances that are going on. We've talked about this. Now they've just come out with an $8.5 billion in rebates, and who's going to pay for that? Taxpayers. That's who's going to pay for it.
Who gets the rebate?
They're accepting applications for states and
You-
territories, you get the rebates, but then you turn around, you're going to pay for it in taxes.
Yeah, you're going to pay it back. There's no free lunch.
No, there is no. But once again, this is what the stuff is. It's what happens all the time. So keep going with your stuff. This is interesting. You found out some good stuff.
Yeah, I've been working hard on it. In 2001, following the 9/11 attacks, Bush declared a state. Oh, I've already done that one. No, I didn't. No, I didn't do that one. In 2001, yeah, you remember that. We declared a state of emergency, the Patriot Act. Remember the Patriot Act?
Yes.
You were working in Washington, D.C. then,
Yes.
and she remembers it well.
So
We
did.
lost so many freedoms then, it is unimaginable. Gone. That's probably the first big step in the great leap forward, if you will. I like to compare that because we're doing a lot of great leaps lately.
I think it actually happened way before then. I think it even happened way before then in the Kennedy and all that kind of administration, but it really came to light, I think, where it became really public is where the Patriot Act happened. And that was slid in so fast overnight.
Just explain exactly what was going on.
So
listen real close.
The best interview, I'm not the best explanation at this, you guys. I am not.
No, just what your experience is.
The George Gammon video. There's a George Gammon video.
No, your experience from when you were up there.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just go look up a George Gammon video where he did the judge from Fox. And I can't remember the judge name, but I can't remember his name. He did it where he talked about the Patriot Act. That was probably the best explanation I've ever heard about it. But it literally went from, when you had a subpoena signed, you had to have a judge or you had to have a DA or something like that. I literally went, you guys, after the Patriot Act, I had a rubber stamp of a supervisor's signature. And I could get any information I wanted from you about you. And that's what I did. And I tracked everyone online. And a lot of people don't know it when they call in and talk to us about the Miles Franklin and what's going on or whatever. But I did. I worked for the FBI for 10 years. And before that, I worked for the police academy for 5 years. I know a lot about this stuff that happened. And I watched it change for 15 years. Went from you had to do certain things to get information about someone to you had to do almost nothing. And yeah, it was scary as heck.
Yeah, so hey,
I could get anything I wanted on
I
you.
need to tap somebody's phone. Oh yeah.
No, the tap was different. I'm talking about a subpoena. For a subpoena, if I want to get information when you were doing stuff on the computer, all it took was a rubber stamp.
But maybe that was you. Maybe somebody else had that authority and you didn't.
Well, to get a wiretap was a little bit different. You still had to get a little bit more, but not much more.
You could subpoena somebody to court.
Well, look at the FISA.
Be nobody actually.
No, you look at the FISA court, which has happened. You could take stuff that wasn't even accurate and you could get them to sign off on it. Just look what happened recently. So.
Okay, a couple more. President Harry Truman declared a state of emergency during the Korean War to deploy troops without formal declaration of war from Congress. See, that's what happens. They do these emergency acts and then they don't have to do like they're supposed to. They can do what they want to a little bit easier. Not that they're not already doing that, but they can just negate all that red tape. That was in a thing the other day.
Yes.
They talked about, oh, this will be good because it gets around the red tape.
Yep.
They don't like that red tape when it's, not on them. If it's for your rights to go buy seed dispensers, then red tape's fine. But if it's in their ball court, they don't like that.
Yeah, to monitor you. Yeah.
But, what's to say Bonehead and his commies couldn't deploy our military for some kind of green problem to help some kind of, because it's green. Just try to think through that. Being able to have all this authority to deploy the military in a way that it would also be green if we did this certain thing. So just think about it. Okay. President Jimmy Carter declared a national emergency during the Iran hostage crisis, which allowed him to impose sanctions on Iran. Biden could potentially use the climate emergency declaration to impose his own things, whatever he wants to impose at whatever time, because these emergency acts give him that power. So watch this, guys. I've been looking for climate lockdowns. Kind of figured that was coming, but I never really thought through this climate emergency, that he could do and stay in office and pretty much, say whatever they tell him to and sign whatever else they want him to. So
So, okay, so you've got this where you could possibly have a climate emergency, they quote. But then you've also got the World Health Organization, the United Nations, and all that also saying if they deem that there is a global emergency, that they have certain things that they want to put in place that all the states, all the countries have to put in place. So if you combine that with that, I mean, you're talking about a little bit of a global control. I don't know if it would go to that, but it seems to be heading to that faster and faster based on after what we've seen recently.
Absolutely. The UN wants control of everything. The
So,
UN wants all of the land. They want everything. And that's the few and the UN are all doing their thing together. And they want it all, and they want you to eat bugs. It's the few that want you to eat bugs and have nothing and be happy.
they do.
Yeah, it's the truth. And
Well,
you know,
speaking of the White
UN.
House, they've come out, and you can guys, all this stuff that we do, just so you know, everything that we try to bring to you, we do try to fact check it to the best of our ability. Because I've watched a lot of other YouTube channels, and I'm just going to put this out there really quick. Because someone called me today about something, and they're like, "Why haven't you talked about this?" And I said, "Well, I can't really fact check it. I can't really find something to prove what this is being talked about. So everything that we talk about, I do try to back it up
Best we can.
to the best we can, to the best of our ability. But you can go to the White House, just so you know, the whitehouse.gov right now, and they have just come out and they call it's invent here and make it here in the industries of the future. And you guys, we've talked about this before, how so many industries have gone overseas and they're trying to bring them back. And they're going to now provide incentives if you do stuff here and innovate here, provide jobs here. But once again, it's going to come with a price tag. It's going to come with certain stipulations, just like when Ford sold out the other day. Matter of fact, is they're about to lose a ton of money on electronic vehicles. They tried to take a buyout. They tried to take a thing from the government, and they said, you know, we're going to take all this money and with all the stipulations, and they're about to lose a lot of money. And but even going back to this event,
so crazy. It looks like the stock's about to go up.
it does. It's so crazy. It makes no sense. But invent here, make it here. So Biden the other day, you guys all saw this. This is old news. This was back on Friday, but I just kind of want to bring it to your attention in case you didn't see it. He was in Maine. He picked of all places to go Maine. And of course, poor bonehead Biden, as we jokingly call him, he didn't know what he was saying. He read off the teleprompter, then stumbled off stage, and they had to get him back on stage to actually sign the order. But this is a new bill. If you go to the whitehouse.gov, you'll see it. But where I see that it comes from, and Chris and I were reading about it, it's going to come from, you and I were talking about this. It's going to the funding is going to come from the Chips and Science Act, which you guys, that is a very controversial act because that's the one where Nancy Pelosi's husband got busted for buying stocks in a company that she knew ahead of time that was going to be approved. And then also the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a complete joke because it's funding everything and everyone, and the taxpayers are paying for it. So,
well, guys, just so you know, I had all of this on the computer where I could show it to you. We did the video, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
So now you get this version.
Yes, you do.
That's why my notes are a little messed up because I had them all on the computer. So we're relying on Stacey tonight.
No, we're
Good
not.
thing she's reliable.
No, we're not really. You're good, baby. You're good. No, we did. He was trying to do the barn stream where we pull the articles up, and for some reason, it just did not
Yard
work
stream,
properly.
yeah.
It didn't work.
trouble.
Speaking
Not that
about Biden, still, let's go into that Facebook one about where Facebook has come out and they have said that Biden is pressuring them to censor certain items.
Yes, we had to experience that firsthand. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about it, but I'm still kind of hacked off about it.
Yeah.
I made a video that got taken down in 8 minutes because it was about the woohoo bat flu, and they took all of our stuff off of Facebook, all of our rental properties, everything we did business, just like that, gone.
They did more than that. I did a lot of CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocate for Kids. I did, it was more than that. I did work with Animal Rescue. They took all that. Keep going. All of it. And I appealed it 5 times. Denied.
I'll read this article.
No, well, they just came out and they said.
You going about Facebook? Because that's going to be an hour-long thing.
No, we don't need to go on that long.
I'm just saying, they don't like truth. I know there was a lady on Twitter, and she was sobbing, saying, I've figured out a way to detox from the you-know-what. And she said, you don't know how many emails I have in my inbox telling me all the side effects these people are having. I shared it on Facebook. Gone. They had so much to do with what happened. If you knew, it would freak you out.
Well,
we learned all about it at the Red Pill. Hope you're there in Iowa.
we will be there. Yeah, in about less than 2 weeks.
Yep. Description.
We'll be
Links in
there.
the description.
Yeah.
You can come hang out with us.
Yes, and Gigi will be there. But I guess what it came out is like the Twitter files came out on Jim Jordan. He's the one of the you like following him
I do
on.
like Jim Jordan. Man, he tears them up.
Yeah.
He bites blisters on their butt.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch him tear them up. But he
released some files, and he's showing where the White House actually went to Facebook and said, "Hey, you guys, you need to censor this. You need to take this off. You need to do this."
He had pictures of the files and highlighted the words, and I had it all on the screen a little bit ago. And I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. But it was amazing how much they had to do with it.
Yep.
And it's all out there. Miss Mary somebody.
Mary Ellis. No, Mary. I'll post it on the thing.
Yeah,
Actually, go to our Twitter.
On Twitter.
Go to Twitter. Yep. Yep. I posted all that, and still going on to Biden. So now, you guys, everything comes back to money. Money, money, money. Everything we've talked about right now seems to be related to money. And Biden now is also, their administration is withholding key funding for schools with hunting and archery programs. Chris and I talked about this. I don't know. There's a lot of people I know that are in the archery programs and different things like that. Even the wildlife and fisheries have come out and said that they are having to now limit what items people can hunt with on national refuge land because of this. They're holding funding. And we talked about that. And that's actually, that's bad for the schools.
This is bad for everything. There's not many. When I was young, we were four-wheelers, guns, dirt bikes every day. We probably wore everybody out with it, okay? There's none of that going on around here. Very, very little. Every now and then I'll see one. We're out in the country. I figured there'd be kids running around all over the place. I figured I had some stuff to pay for, if you know what I mean. But this is taking away from getting children out in the outdoors, learning how to shoot a bow, for Pete's sake. The only thing I can think of why they wouldn't like bows is because they're quiet.
It's control.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anything. They're like the fun police, actually. So this isn't going to do anything but mess people up worse. There's kids that can't do some things. They're not quite right because they miss some very important portions of their life that was spent during lockdown. So, and now here's another thing. It's like, no, we're taking all that away. You can't have guns or archery. You might poke yourself in the eye. For your safety, you better just stay home. And like the WEF said, we'll keep them occupied with drugs and video games.
Yep.
That's straight from the few.
Yep.
That's one of those carrots he was talking about. The carrots and the sticks, which one he's going to use.
Well, let's keep going, you guys.
Yeah,
we got a few more because we're already at 27 minutes.
Yeah, we got.
So, I know. All right, let's talk about this next one that we came across. And Chris and I want to talk about this for a little bit because I have mixed feelings on this one. So we've got Colorado, California, Illinois just signed into law Friday. We've got New Jersey possibly looking at it, of where you're allowing non-citizens to become police officers. But that's a broad thing that we're stating, but let's narrow it down a little bit. So I got into the little weeds of it a little bit. And it's basically kids that came over here, that their parents brought them over. From what I can understand, it's DACA, from 7 and under, that their parents brought them over here. And so they're saying, okay, you weren't brought over here, you willingly. I mean, your parents brought you over. So we're having a really problem funding law enforcement right now because everybody wants to defund the police. You don't get paid enough. I mean, heck, look what's happening to the police officers. They even do anything. They just smile funny and they get arrested. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones, like in every industry. And we've talked about this. But I have mixed feelings about this. How do you feel about this, where you're going to allow illegal citizens, if you're not legal, to police
but
and
they didn't break the law, their parents did.
But still, they're still illegal.
I agree. I have no problem with
because they have work permits.
It doesn't matter where you're from. I have a problem with breaking the law and then wanting to be law. Yeah, you didn't mean to break the law, but still
they didn't break the law. Their parents
did.
Yeah,
but is that is that all right? Do you get grandfathered in because of you were too young to know any different? Okay, let's say you do. Let's say you get grandfathered in. is that person that got here illegally, were they raised with the wrong intentions because their parents broke the law? More than likely, they're just here for a better life. I
Right,
get it.
right.
You guys have no idea how much I get
Yep.
that. And
We
I'm
know a lot of
passionate about
people.
the subject.
Yep.
The problem is immigration system broke. You can't have something that functions when it's broken at baseline. It just doesn't work. It's done. It needs to be completely revamped. We open the borders and let a bunch in. Oh, but you're illegal. You can't. You got to do what we say. But we could make your kids policemen. That's. I'm just saying. That's the kind of weird signals they put out. It's like, yeah, come on over. You can't have a driver's license, but maybe you can if you move to this state. And by the way, your kids could possibly be a police officer. Now, what illegal immigrant wouldn't want to be a cop? Wouldn't want their sons and daughters to get in the police force and maybe move up the ranks and all that stuff. I'm just saying there's a lot of issues that goes on with it, but I'm not saying anything bad about any. It doesn't matter where you're from. I don't care really, but we don't know. We've got to be able to vet people, right? We've got to be able to vet their parents, which we probably don't know anything about, and I don't know. I feel like we should probably just pay police officers more, and that the hole will be filled. Just like teachers. Teachers should be paid well. You will get better teachers. If you want, but that's not how the system works. See, the system punishes people. They punish people that have this God-given gift to want to teach, to want to be law enforcement, to want to be, they have that kind of personality. That's what they're drawn towards. Well, they know that, and they're just going to pay them peanuts. They're paying peanuts, and the good ones will go do something else. And the ones that just love the job and that's all they want to do, they're going to do that because that's what they want to do. I love to teach. You hear that before.
Yeah.
And they don't care about money. And I hear that a lot from people that said, I'm going to go be a teacher. I said, before you do that, please think about being not paid well. Now, I know I'm going to some say, I make $100,000 being a teacher. Well, not around here so much. And if you're making 100 grand, more than likely somebody in the trades is making double that or more. I'm just saying, it's all coming out wrong. But anyway.
So can I give my opinion on this a little bit? Because you and I have had conversations about this, and we're about to get really real here as a husband and a wife. All right, you ready?
Okay, hit me with it.
I've done a lot of volunteer work since Chris and I have been married. So before I got paid to do a lot, if you guys have followed us any at all, you know that I've worked at the police academy, I worked at the FBI, I've done child pornography cases, I've worked with kids, I've worked with animals. Well, I got paid to do that. When Chris and I got married, I started volunteering. And he at one point even told me, he said, you were right. You said, I was literally working 40 hours a week and I was giving my heart and soul to something that was paying me zero. And he's right. So you were right on that. And it was good. It's what I needed to do at that point. But still, some of these jobs, you get paid nothing. As far as the police officers goes, I am going to be on the fence. I'm going to be on the side. I'm sorry. If you're not a citizen, you should not be able to enforce laws. And I get the point.
But you can't take away from the children. Didn't do anything wrong.
It doesn't matter if you're not a citizen.
You can't really point fingers at the people that came across the border that wanted a better life.
It does not matter. If you're not a citizen, I don't think you can enforce law. For in California right now, in California, you can actually practice law as a lawyer and not be a citizen of the United States. But to go out and arrest me, I think you should be a citizen of the United States. If you're going to stop me on the side of the road, I think you should be a citizen of the United States. But anyway,
if you're drugged here when you're a baby, come on, what are we going to do with them? They got to be, they're part of the system.
Well,
they are part of the system.
Here you go, you guys.
But, it's not their fault.
Join in. What do you guys think?
More than likely, their parents moved here for a better life.
They did.
So put your comments in there. I just want them to be vetted. I just want their parents to be vetted. I want to know everything about them before they can arrest me. That's all. That's where I'm at on anybody. For matter. It doesn't matter if you're born here or not. But I'm passionate about it because I have some people in my life that are illegal.
Yes.
And they're like family to me.
And they're good people.
So I see it. 100%, both sides.
Yeah.
So I'm not one way or the other. I'm just saying, here's what I think. Let me know what you think. Go to the next one.
Well, this is my last article I've got, and you can wrap it up whatever you got. So, you guys, we have just wrapped up with China and Russia, which was today. No, yesterday actually, where they just did their air and naval exercise in the seas. This is China has done more naval and military exercises with Russia in the last year and a half than any other, even personal exercises they've done. So you guys pay attention to this. And strategically, they did it in the Japan seas. And they said because they're sending a warning to Japan because of their affiliation with NATO, what they're doing with the United States, what they're doing with Australia, and different things like that. So that's what I'll end up with that. But you guys pay attention to that. Also, before I end my little 2 cents, we've got, don't forget, you guys, we got the world, not the world, we got BRICS coming up in a few weeks. And then we've got the Asian nations coming up in a few weeks. We've got 2 big meetings that are coming up. And Russia, Putin could not attend that because he would have been arrested because there's a warrant out for him. So he invited them, and they just visited Russia for this past week. And their goal, they stated specifically, was to go around the dollar because they're tired of the dollar. Well,
Sure.
being
who wouldn't be?
so.
Who wouldn't be
Let's pay
tired
attention, you guys.
of a
I think this
currency?
is going to be a next interesting 2 months. So we'll see kind of what's going to happen. So
It's really starting to pick up, guys. It is starting to. We're starting to see cracks, even here. You know, I don't know if you guys noticed the car lots. Start looking at used car lots and the cars that are on them, and kind of look at the prices. And maybe a month goes by, check on them. Right now, more than likely, everything's just still hunky dory. It's like the crash that'll never get here. But we're starting to see the video I did about real estate with Jesse.
that was a
Uh,
good video. That was a very
Shielded
good video.
Prepper. Check him out. He's not in these comments. He's in the last video. But the real estate market looks like it's getting pretty toppy. It looks like it's really starting to cool off, you know, and people are starting to get into a lot of debt. They're using credit cards to pay for fuel, to pay for food, to pay for rent.
They're doing HELOCs.
Credit card debt is at an all-time high. You know, the average of a credit card that holds debt, a person that owns a credit card that actually carries a balance, is growing every day. I mean, this is people are starting to get in a bind, and we're not even there yet. We're not even the housing, the debt level. I wish I had my charts up here. I'm sorry, guys. I'll have the computer next time.
We got to figure that out. How to
I
do the
will,
charts
but
better.
it looks pretty bad. And I know looking at the charts and looking at the news is so different. It's kind of a different thing for me because I've always invested on narrative. But instead, if you know that the stock market and all of the real estate and all that stuff is divorced, completely divorced from reality, it makes sense to start looking at it on a graph where we can measure it. You know, so I plan on bringing some charts next time. That's really about it. I'm gonna do some community call outs right here at the end.
I want to give you some. I want to give you some. So you and Johnny Bravo and Crypto Joe, I want to give him some credit. So it's not easy to get in these courses. I've not done it, so I cannot say anything. But
It's
I've
easy to
watched
get
this
in.
guy. No, but you've actually dove in.
Like get into it.
And you
all the way.
understand it. And so you guys, I want you to pay attention to what he's saying in some of these videos. And he's going to start doing some videos. And you guys have reached out to me of where he's going to explain what these charts mean. And I'm proud of you. You're really
Well,
understanding
thank
it.
you.
You're grasping it.
I'm working
I'm proud of
hard
you.
on it.
I know
have
you
to
are.
get submerged in anything that I do.
I'm proud of
I
you.
did it in real estate, and we had 6 houses in a year and a half, you know, and it worked. And we did
Yeah.
it debt free.
Yeah.
We did it without.
That's another thing, you guys.
We did it without borrowing money.
We did
They paid
zero
us
down.
at the closing table.
Every time we went to closing, they paid us. And you guys have asked us so many times about these different courses that people put out where you put 20% out, 20% out. Others. No, we didn't. Every single closing we went to, we put 0% down and they paid us. And that was thanks to
cool.
you.
That was
Chris
cool.
is the one that
I
figured
just
out how to do
studied
that.
it like all you wouldn't believe.
He
Every
did.
day,
He did.
back and forth, learning from the best. And that's what I'm doing now with
Yep.
Johnny Bravo and Crypto Charts Joe.
He did.
Going through their course on the Patreon, looking at the charts, right, taking notes. I've got 6 pages of notes with little red and green candles and lines. You wouldn't believe it. But that's the way I have to do it.
Yep.
I have to, that's the way I did pipe fitting. And if you made it to the end, you know kind of our story, how we pretty much sold everything and moved into a travel trailer. And had enough money to rig out a welding
He
truck.
convinced me to marry him.
And I didn't even know how to weld pipeline. I've never even
Yeah.
seen a weld. And I had to learn that. I had to learn it. Everything was on the line. Everything. And that's how I did it. I did whatever it took. I started looking at the gadgets, writing down notes, and learned how to fit pipe and miter fittings and roll flanges and get degrees. And I'd ask anybody anything. I don't care. If you do enroll in one of these things, you'll see me on the Patreon, especially at Crypto Chart Joe, and I will be asking questions and showing my screen and really, getting it done. Because I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a year to learn this stuff. I'm ready to go. We're looking at a stock market crash, and I'm not going to be the bag holder anymore. It does not make any sense to me to ride the stock market for your whole life. It always comes back. Well, this time it might not come back for 10 years. It might go to all-time highs. But the people that make it to the all-time highs, most of them will see the all-time lows, because they're going to just hold on, because that's what's happened for the last 60 years. It doesn't make sense to me to do that. What makes sense is if you're going to buy an asset that's already overpriced, you're buying an asset, Apple, whatever, that's already overpriced, expecting it, hoping and wishing that it goes up.
The shielded prepper just jumped on. We're talking about you, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
And your course.
I'm going to do a community call out in just a second. But it makes no sense. Well, you can hold your same stocks for the most part and then sell them. When it comes up here and the charts get out of whack, you can sell it, let it do the thing. And then you can buy again down here. I know guys that have done this. I just mentioned them. Johnny Bravo and Crypto Charts Joe. Simplistic chart show. I like Joe's course a lot. I also like Johnny's. They're both very good teachers. They're both simple, really. It's not easy, but it's simple. And I just want to encourage you to do it with me. Both links are in the description. And if you like it, let me know. If you do sign up, let me know, because I want to make sure you're in the Zoom meetings and the live streams and all the stuff. There's no live. Yeah, it's a Zoom meeting. It's a live stream. And if you have any questions, get in there. That's why I want to encourage people to come along and do it. Everything I'm into, I want everybody else to do with me.
No, actually do it. Like some people say, "Oh, I'm going to do it." They sign up, they pay, and they never do anything. So I'm proud of you. You're actually doing it.
I'm going to do it.
So
I'm going to do it. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I'm going to do a few call-outs right here at the end. Tony's hilarious. Chuck Norris is listening.
Some of you guys, I cannot wait.
From Alabama. Lisa Stewart.
Hey, Lisa. I know you.
Shielded Prepper.
Jesse. Carlos.
Carlos is amazing.
I got your text message.
Carlos he's got the kindest spirit, I'm telling you guys. Christo's biceps can be seen from space. I need to get back to the gym. I've been kind of falling off since my hernia surgery.
And MNJ
is awesome. Thank you for the moderators. Doing BJ's course also. Have to write notes and watch a couple of times over. I agree, Perry. It is whatever I got to do is what I'm going to do. Municipal dump trucks are going cheaper than 30 and 60 days going seen 2008. Okay, so dump trucks are getting cheap. 11,000? That's cool for a dump truck. If something like that, you could buy a dump truck and use it, and then when things start picking up again, sell it for 11 grand. Klein, Neil, M&J. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome day. Later.